tired.
Yeah.
So, roll call, we've got Ayer, Tom Costin, and Ray Billet missing.
Yep.
Minutes of last meeting, I had a chance to review them for the meeting. I think you said that there was only just some stuff from the high-speed rail missing. I didn't know if, did you want to correct those now, or do you want to do it this week, and then we can have Tom put them up and vote on them next meeting for the first of the year?
Yeah, she just doesn't have the location in there where the traffic studies were being done, where the traffic count study was being done.
Okay.
So I can insert that. I was supposed to do that already and I didn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just get them corrected and then we can
Sorry
vote
about
on
that,
next
girl.
meeting.
Okay, let me do that before
Treasurer's report, since we have not voted in a treasurer, I'll just go ahead and give an update. I'm sure the monies are close to where they were last
I.
time. After I think the last expense we had was just the appeal.
Did it ever come out?
And the last time we heard that hadn't even come out of the account, so we don't know.
Well, Michael Hughes says he's got paperwork concerning the bank account. He'll give it to us this evening, so we'll have an
Okay.
updated amount. And
Okay.
figure that out. I'll get it to you. Deputy Short is not here, so we'll skip the sheriff's report. Library report.
All right, hello everyone. I have very little for you tonight. We're right in the middle of a very, very slow section for the library. Just a couple of quick things. There's a Covered California event on January the 9th. If you have any questions about the new healthcare stuff happening. The end of this week and the beginning of next week, we will be doing interviews for our second and final homework center page. And once we hire them, we will be fully staffed at last for the first time in the better part of a year. So that's kind of exciting.
What do you call that person?
Homework center page.
Okay.
And also, we have some abbreviated hours coming up for the holidays. You will find this posted on the front door. We're closed Christmas and New Year's Day. Very simple stuff. And the day before we close it. So
Okay.
that's what I got for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
And tomorrow's the gingerbread house.
Yes, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, gingerbread.
And it's filled.
It's full, yeah. It filled up pretty quick.
Great.
John, when will you have the schedule for January?
Probably the end of the week.
That's too late for me.
When do you need that? I can do it.
No, I have to go to press tomorrow in order to get out in time.
I think I can do it tomorrow, yeah.
That'd be great.
I'll try. Do what time? What time is the deadline?
If you could have it by noon, that would be great. If you can't, don't worry about it, because I'll just fill in with what I know the regulars are.
By noon, I can send you an abbreviated version of all the dates
Fine,
and times.
whatever.
Okay.
Whatever works.
Okay. Absolutely.
Okay. Announcements and correspondences. There was one that I had gotten, and then I responded back a couple of different times. And I said that we would try to talk about it today, either announcements, correspondences, or under Public Works. But there was a woman that called, and her daughter live in the apartments over behind the 76 station, off to the side there. And she said that her daughter had almost been hit by a car as she was walking to the library from the junior high school, and that there's no crosswalks at the freeway on-ramps and off-ramps. And I'm really not there, so I've never seen it during the school time. And the kids are crossing, and they said there could be crowds of them and stuff. And
There is.
so with I told her that if we wanted to discuss it and she wanted to be here, she said she may or may not be able to make it because she works late. But I told her that maybe we'd bring it up with that meeting with Christina and Adele, since we're trying to have a Public Works representative there at the same time.
Yes.
But has anyone else ever had experiences, or their kids?
I mean, my kids all walked, there, but I do know that there are no crosswalks.
Is there any, there's no sidewalks there?
No.
I mean, I know we have
No.
sidewalks, but no, marked walking areas, or
No.
they're just kind of hugging the curbs and the.
And it slopes in certain parts. It's not easy, and there's groups of them
Right.
walking. There could be 10, 12 kids all running together.
So I wonder what could we do, as far as public works that still fits into our community standards? Is there some grading they can do, widen something out and put in some DG, or,
I don't know
mean,
why
stripe,
not. I
stripe
mean,
the road for a
stripe the road.
crosswalk?
Clean it the way it comes underneath the bridge right there, and it's, the terrain is not great.
Right.
And then even when you get here by the, country, or the feed store, it's real rough right there too, till you get a little farther up to the,
So I think within that means also if we have the crosswalk, then we can have crosswalk signs, which then give pedestrians, I mean, pedestrians are supposed to have the right of way anyways, but
Right.
maybe just put some signs up there for that.
it's not safe. It's definitely not safe. I've worried about it for a long time.
Okay. Take public comment, you have an idea on that, or?
Yeah, seeing the kids coming out from the junior high school, you have school letting out and the lunch rush happening at the same time. And then the proximity of the support pillars at that overpass that you're talking about to the actual road. I don't think you're gonna run into much possibility for widening the road down there or smoothing things out.
Well, I don't think we're trying to widen the road, we're talking about making a walkway for the children.
There's room. I've looked at it
Maybe.
several times. I mean, you gotta get past the big pillars, but then once you're past the pillars that's holding the bridge, there's room.
I think that dirt kind of slopes.
It
right
does,
there,
it's
yes.
real.
On that, I purposely avoid the area
Right.
between 12 and 1, partly because I see it up here at the four-way stop. I see it all the time. You'll have a clump of kids coming across, and then with little, if any, warning, if you're lucky, these 2 or 3 will decide they want to be with their friends, and you're watching these ones who are crossing in front of you, and all of a sudden you have 3 more running across the intersection. And I've seen them just dart blindly out off the curb without even a glance one way or another. The way things are set up now, I think it's only a matter of time till somebody gets killed out there.
Well, let's see what Public Works and their engineers can come up with, if they can come up with something that'll at least make it better. It can't get worse, right? So,
No, we have to do something to protect those kids that are walking. If
Okay.
we can get Public Works involved and get some kind of, at least markings across the Sierra Highway would be helpful, and then it's minimal grading that would need to happen
well, that
to
could be,
make it flatter.
that could be something that we could also, talk to Public Works about putting on conditions for any development that's going on. If they're gonna,
Right.
if some of these restaurants wanna come in, even without their drive-through, if they're gonna increase traffic, maybe that's something they could put on a condition, like contribute through the permit process,
Yeah.
fees that way. They've done it to me, might as well do
It
it to
needs to be done.
Okay. So that was the only correspondence that
No,
I
I have some.
had gotten, all right? Do you have some?
I'm picking up the mail now, so
Oh, okay.
I have the key. So we got a Christmas card addressed to Mr. Ray Garwalke, who has not been our president for quite some time, from the Palmdale Regional Medical Center. And
Is his name inside the card?
it's on the outside,
Or what's in the card?
signatures of people that,
Oh, I'll put that on my map.
okay, thank you.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, and then we got the agenda for the Regional Planning Commission. They're not meeting December 23rd or 30th, which kind of makes sense due to Christmas and holidays. They're also sent us a card asking if we, no, that's for board supervisors.
I'm sorry, they're not meeting when?
Wednesday, December 23rd and 30th for the Christmas and New Year holiday.
Okay.
So the next scheduled meeting for Planning Commission is Wednesday, January 6th. Okay?
Do they have the agenda for that?
Not for,
Just,
yeah, for coming up, yes, they do.
was there anything pertaining, did we look at that?
Yeah, I looked at it, there wasn't anything
Pertaining to
to us.
Acton? Okay.
And then we got this card asking us if we want to continue to get the agenda for the County Board of Supervisors. And we do receive that in the mail, so I'm sure that we want to do that, so I can respond to this card.
Do they have an email option where they could, where all of us could actually just be on that email and receive it? 'Cause it seems like, unless we get it every day in the mail, then we see each other, which we don't in between.
No, and we get it the day before or 2 days, at least we did this last time. I don't know when Mike was doing it, but it came like the day before.
And they don't have an email option on
No,
there?
there's no email option. And it's kind of weird, they say that you need to have this done by January 1st, and then he's written in January 5th that this needs to be responded to.
Okay.
So, I can respond to him and then ask if there's a email option that we can get it
That would,
to all of us
Okay.
instead. Is that okay?
I think that'd be great.
Okay. Unless you want to do it, but I'm happy to jump in and get this done.
All right.
Okay, that's all the mail that I saw. But I've only been getting it for about a week or so, so we're good.
So as far as announcements, the 501c4 is going forward. Randall Fink is reviewing our documents, and he'll get back to us after the first of the year, get that processed out there. And with, there's one other thing. That's something. Commission reports, Jackie's not here to do anything with the planning department. Pam, high-speed rail.
Okay, so just to clarify, the traffic count study was done 2 weeks ago in Acton. There was 2 locations. One was just west of the high school on Escondido and 53rd, which is kind of where you come off the freeway, and there's a short little street there called Ward Road. And they did it, Chris corrected the time that they should be doing it. They were gonna do it from 7 to 9 a.m. and then they were gonna do it from 4 to 6. Well, Chris talked to Genevieve and got them to start at 4 or something in the morning, and they went quite a bit later, and then they went later in the afternoon too. So I did see those 2 locations. The other one was here on Sierra Highway, and I contacted Genevieve and asked her for a copy of the report if it was available yet as to what they discovered, and she said no, it wouldn't be available till after the first of the year. Next thing, there's been quite a bit of new information coming from groups of people that are starting to jump on board. Some of the Democrats that were in favor of it before, like, what's her name right here? Assemblywoman Patty Lopez, she's from the San Fernando area. She's now turned her opinion. She's not in favor of the train any longer, and according to this little article, it says there's 5 other unnamed Democratic lawmakers that are also reconsidering their support. Don't know what that means of six assembly persons that were in favor of it before, but whatever, this is good. Then, which I did not know anything about, on December 2nd, there was a big meeting in the Shadow Hills area again, and we were not informed of it. And Dave DePinto, who is the chairperson for that group down there that represents the 6 major foothill communities, he has sent an awesome letter to the High Speed Rail Authority regarding everything that's happened and that they promised would happen in the last year to the foothill communities and to everybody regarding the route through the forest. So I wasn't able to print that out tonight, but I'd like to let everybody know where to find it. It is www.thehamiltonreport.com/southern-california-communities. It's a long letter, but he has hit every point that all of us have been talking about.
Is it the Hamilton Report or Hamilton Report?
It's Hamilton Report. No, the Hamilton Report. And that's Kathy Hamilton. She was with the San Francisco Examiner, and she is no longer with them, but she has written hundreds of articles. It's the second one.
Okay.
Yeah. But even if you just go to the Hamilton Report, you're gonna find it. the basis of his report, or his letter, Dave DePinto's letter, is to halt all environmental studies immediately. He said this is the 1-year anniversary of the East Corridor routes, and he said that the authority hasn't done anything that they promised them they would do, as far as the reports, as far as any information that was supposed to be given to them, as far as Chairman Richard was supposed to come down and conduct a meeting. He instead sent them what Dave's calling is a very terse letter. So I don't know what that means. I didn't see that letter. So there's activity going on where people are starting to really demand the information from the High-Speed Rail Authority. And remember, we're due to go to court February 11th, 2016 in Sacramento, and that's the Prop 1A lawsuit. And today in the Fresno Bee, there was a letter from Adam Cohen from Sacramento, who is really asking again, or telling them again, that the bullet train must comply with Prop 1A. So he's saying that all of these properties that have been bought, that nothing has happened as far as the route, but yet the properties have been eminent domain. Some of them have been destroyed, and there's another injunction on the books, or prepared to be on the books, that is saying exactly the same thing. You can't keep buying these properties if this train is not going to go through, and you're destroying the properties, tearing them down. People aren't getting the proper value for their property, and we've got this boondoggle thing. So there seems to be a lot of activity in the media all of a sudden again. There's several articles in the AV Press. They really do a good job keeping us informed. Thank you, Julie, of everything that they're aware of, and there's something every couple of days. It's fabulous. So that's it for me on the high-speed rail.
And then they also notified us that they approved the drilling permits.
Yes, yeah, sorry about that,
in the
yeah.
forest.
The drilling permits have been approved.
And they, I don't know, Penavita didn't have a start time when they were gonna
No.
start, but they've got the permits that are approved.
Yeah, just recently approved. She
And
keeps
that's
in,
for the forest,
what?
for the forest.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
forestry department approved their permit.
She keeps in good contact with both Chris and I. So if she calls me, she's calling Chris too. So we both seem to be on the list of phone calls.
Between the two of us, we remember most of what she says.
Not unless I write it down. What are you talking about? Okay. Any questions from anybody about the train, our lovely train?
The only comment I wanted to make was I found it very interesting that the approval letter, because I know Viva told me where to find it in the forestry department, and one of the things when I wrote the forestry and said that I disagreed with them approving it because they need to go back to the drawing board, because the request from the forestry department to the high-speed rail was that they were supposed to notify, the forestry department is not aware of the whole process, said that we would like you to notify everyone that commented on the eastern routes. And the problem with that was that when all of us sent in our comment cards, there were no eastern routes, it was a slug. So the way the high-speed rail, when I spoke with Juan Carlos there, identified who did it was that they brought up everyone's comment cards and typed in a search for E1, E2, 3 eastern routes. I didn't know E1 through E3, and I didn't know the eastern route. I would have put down the comment of the slug Ravina area where I lived, and so I felt that it was not a true representation of who should have been commenting if that's what the forestry asked for. And when I put that in my letter and sent it to them, the forestry then approves it, saying that the people down in Shadow Hills had, that he had received proof that the people in Shadow Hills had commented on the eastern routes as early as November of 2014, which still is 3 to 4 months later than when we commented on the slug. So we were disregarded, and the forestry department, not to hold them totally harmless. I think the guy just got thrown into a pot and doesn't understand the time frame and everything. It's just like, hey, he knows nothing about high-speed rail, and here he is trying to make decisions on that. And I think it was not proper for them to go ahead and approve this permit, just on their own requirements, but he's kind of was unaware that, or he's turning a blind eye, that we weren't, didn't have those drops identified for us when we put our comments cards in.
Right.
So he's got a 4-month gel in there, so we'll see what happens. I mean, if we end up filing lawsuits, there's lots of stuff that we can bring up, that's one of the items.
Hanaviva did say that when they start the drilling, they're gonna notify us, but that it would be difficult for us to, like, where I have followed them around when they did the sound studies and the traffic count and all that, she said, I don't know if we're gonna let you be in the forest when they do that because of liability.
Well, it's interesting, because the forest is public land, and if we're not drilling,
Exactly.
we can go anywhere we want.
I don't have a 4-wheel drive, but we can figure it out.
I don't either, but I'll walk.
What are they drilling for?
Okay.
What are they looking for? What were they drilling for?
It's a couple of different things. They're trying to, and according to Jackie, they're not going deep enough anyway. But it's seismic, it's,
They're looking for unknown faults, they're looking for the type of gravels and solid rock that they would be drilling through. They're also looking for water tables,
yeah,
but the depths that they're going are not deep enough to dictate an alternate route for a complete tunnel through Acton. It's basically dictating where they would tunnel from, a little bit of Palmdale and then, be totally still surface across the Liso Canyon area. And then where they would go through is a much higher elevation. So it just kind of doesn't give us the option that if they went deeper and they got more information, that would give them the option to do a complete tunnel through Acton and avoid us, at least surface-wise. But they're not going deep enough to determine that. They're really just sticking to their own plan over there. And Jackie says in some areas they're not even going deep enough to determine, where their own tunnel depths would be. So I don't know what they're
Right.
looking for. Maybe they think they can get the rock formations and type of rock. I guess in talking to Juan Carlos a year ago in one of the open house meetings, he said, well, the worst for us to drill in is sand, and the best for us to drill in is some sort of rock that'll hold its shape and not collapse in on them. So, I'm not a geologist, so I don't know, but that's kind of what they're doing. Take your core samples.
And then you also mentioned something about the high-speed rail buying up properties and basically devaluing the properties around them. Is that in our bill also?
no,
No, I didn't think so.
they haven't bought anything here yet. This is all the Central Valley, Hanford area, Fresno, those communities where they've actually bought some properties, and in Fresno particularly, they've bought something in the downtown area, they've actually torn it down. So there's been businesses, older businesses that they have demolished.
We haven't moved on, so I just thought something might be happening here. Not yet.
No.
Now, what they did in Fresno, and when we went up, was it a month ago, or so to speak, and then we went to lunch, and the ladies that I was sitting at their table, they were, the one said that, she lives on a rural street or a city street, and there's a row of houses, and she's on this side, and they came in and they bought all the properties right across the street from her. It's just a 2-lane city street, knocked down all the houses and put up a fence, and that's where the train's gonna go, and they've given her 0 for compensation for devaluated property, 0 for noise, 0 for everything. And that's their thing. They keep telling us, we only need 150 feet. So, if you have 5 acres, we only need 150 foot, it's about a third. We'll just come through and take our land, and as long as we don't touch you, we're not getting any money.
So that was less than 150 feet then, across the street.
Well, it was I guess, that row of houses and whatever was behind them.
Yeah.
But basically, she used to look out her front living room window and see houses that have been there
And
forever.
neighborhood.
And now she sees a big fence, which is eventually gonna be a 20-foot high wall across the street and out her front window. That's her new view. And the rumbling and vibration of a train flying
Yeah.
by. So, anyways, that was a little eye-opening there, that they really are only gonna take that 150-foot width. And everybody else is out of luck. So,
And so when we talk about devaluation of properties,
It's gonna be huge for whoever's directly affected.
Well, for that particular property, those people, it's an eye-opener.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a big difference between, you know, living in a neighborhood or living across the street from a train track. Okay. Publicity and associations, Tom's not here. I know we're talking about right after the first year, trying to put something together for a fundraiser, and we'll have to deal with that in January. Finance, Ways and Means, we don't have anyone assigned to that yet. Again, we'll get the monies back together. The bylaws and community standards, decorum. Has anyone seen Tom? Has he put those up on the website yet?
No, I haven't seen them. And I was looking for the error that you and I wanted to
Oh,
correct it.
yeah.
Again, with the Public Works, they did finally, after, I don't know how many months, start repairing the road above, the one they normally shut down for movie filming. They closed that down. They're actually working on there, right above Thousand Trails. I don't know if they got it done yet. It looks,
I think it's either supposed to have been done last Friday or sometime this week. That's what I was told.
and then I saw that, the one at the bridge right by Shambhala Preserve, they actually, you know, they did have 3 barricades. One had been broken and knocked down for months, and now maybe they pulled the barricades from this one and put over there, but it looked like there was 10 barricades, and making people a little more aware that there's a big 30-foot drop there with no barrier.
Yeah, they've been working their way replacing a lot of guardrail from the Agua dulce side coming east or north, depending on your view of the road. But, so I know that they've got some damaged rail at that Shambhala Bridge.
Yeah, and the one they just fixed for, what, the 4th time in 12 months?
Yeah.
By the fire station was hit again?
It was hit again, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bad turn there.
Well, you would think Public Works would make a decision to make some sort of changes, either in the speed or.
It's people going faster than the posted speed limit. And they hit that curve and people don't know how to determine the center of gravity of their car. Those are outside curves, so the car wants to go outside. And as soon as you go around and you lose it, you're right into the guardrails.
Well, it's just one more thing, but we do have a meeting with Public Works, we'll discuss it all. Emergency response, disaster planning, again, we have to assign someone to be the head of that committee, and then Michael Hughes is still gonna be involved with that. Beautification and legal dumping? Nothing?
Nothing. Lillian did show me, she got an email from somebody about graffiti over by the miso sushi area and a pharmacy, so.
Okay.
Deputy Short,
Yes, ma'am.
how do you want us to handle the graffiti? Should we call the hotline?
You can call the hotline, or what happens when we come out, we take a report, and then we try to notify Public Works if it's an example to clean it up. I know I'm working on a graffiti thing right now out over at the old wood place between Hubbard Road and Valley Sage, or Puritan Mine. Somebody's tagged a tank, you can see it from the freeway, but it's private property. So Public Works does not go behind fences on private property. So I'm trying to get a hold of the property owner. I've left a message at the number up there to see if they can clean it up, because it really looks bad.
Oh, I think you said you wanted to see it first.
Yeah, if we could, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Do you know about the one at the, at the strip mall where Crown Valley Pharmacy is,
no, is that
on the freeway side?
on the freeway side?
That just
must
got
be new then.
posted today. It just got posted on Nextdoor Neighbor today. There's right next to the pharmacy, and then there was another one that they talked about too.
Over by the miso side, between
On the
there?
backside.
I'll
You
go
can
by
s-
that tomorrow morning.
You can see it off the freeway.
Okay. Yeah, that's a popular spot to target. If you go up real close, you see where they've etched the windows the
Lovely.
last time they were there, so I'll take a look at it, see if we can get the owner to do something again. Okay, thank you.
Well, I think the woman that had walked in with the child that was crying or making noise, and then the other girl, I think she was the one that had called, and then
Right.
they.
Yeah, they stopped me
Oh, did they?
outside. I was talking to them for a few minutes.
Were they the ones that had, that I had called and talked to about the traffic problem at the freeway without a crosswalk? Did they, is that what they spoke to you about, or no?
They spoke to me about other issues among them, but they didn't mention that.
It's okay. Well, I thought maybe that was, she said she was gonna try and make it tonight. Well, do you wanna come up and give your report?
Oh, certainly.
You know, there's one more graffiti thing over by Brady's property at Santiago.
From Santiago?
Yeah. Supposedly by the, I just remembered it was by the Grizzly Burger.
Okay, I'll go look.
Okay.
I passed by there earlier, didn't see anything, but then again, it was dark. So, hope everybody's doing well tonight. It was a tad late because there's a protest going on down in Palmdale, so we're all standing by.
Really?
Yeah, because they just put out a thing as I was getting ready to come out of the car that says, I'm gonna hold 4 units over till 2 o'clock in the morning unless they go away by 10.
What are they protesting?
I really don't know. I was just on the standby team, sitting around the station going, so we didn't go, because we don't want to make a presence and irritate people. So we only go in case something does happen, so we were in the standby, and it's like, the guy who was supposed to come in and do the status briefing was out at the command post, which is one called watching what was going on. He never came in, so I know they had a protest going on about, there was a talk of protest for the fact that the trial back east on the officer, it was a hung jury. So they dismissed one of those, the Chicago, the guy with the band that had the broken back. And so that was a hung jury. Baltimore, thank you. And then, because I was reading that they're going to try to retry him, since they didn't get what they wanted the first time. So we'll see what happens. And then there was the, they had that, and the, I can't remember what the other, it wasn't that, I don't know if it was that, but there was another one. I saw a bunch of people carrying around American flags. When I was earlier, I had to pick up a car at a dealer before I came on. And I saw people walking along Palmdale Boulevard and Rancho Vista, and they were carrying big tall American flags, but no sign. They were just walking back and forth, so I don't know.
Protests aren't very effective if you don't know what they're protesting.
Exactly, and I hate to seem like I don't know, but it was like, hey, we just need you to come in. It's like, I'll sit down.
Okay.
I'm ready. Anyway, we had the stats last time, but I know Lily and I have talked. You know, we've had several burglaries. And it started with Crazy Autos a couple months ago, where they're smashing the door and trying to take money. And then they hit both pharmacies, and then they hit Perking Up and Rustic Cafe. Same thing, smash front window, take cash register,
What time of day is this happening?
middle of the night.
So commercial burglaries.
Commercial burglaries. And then at the same time after that, there was a number of burglaries in Palmdale that's attributed to the same gentleman who did Rustic and Perking Up, like 6, just, and if you look at the video, they all look like the same group. Young guys wearing hoodies, carrying a crowbar. We have a view of a car in one, so we've got some idea who we think it might be. So we're putting stuff together and trying to see if we can find these guys. But as I've cautioned before, if you have a business and you have a cash register, please do not leave money in it with the drawer closed. Because all they have to do is see the drawer closed and they think there's something in it. So I tell people, strip it out, either take the till out or leave it in, but leave the fingers up with the drawer open, so if they look in, they can see, obviously there's nothing in it, and chances are, there's a good chance they'll bypass it unless they're looking for something else other than money. But in the pharmacy's case, they were looking for something else other than money.
Right.
So they did get a quantity of narcotics out of that, so, but that's, but they did get a little money too. Yeah, but we have some good video of it, and we're moving around to see what we can And I think that's about it, other than Christmas is coming. Everybody drive carefully. I hear it's supposed to rain this week coming in. We had a little rain over the weekend, I know. So,
I have a marijuana question for you, because I've heard of a couple people, actually, towards Agua Dulce way, that they says, oh, we've got a permit where we could grow a couple of plants for ourselves. Is that legal in the county?
you can, if you have a medical recommend card, there's a limit that you can specify,
So the little
something
card
like,
people go pay $50 for and get
yeah,
many
and
documents.
if you read the
right?
daily news, it's like $99 guaranteed to pass, so that sprayed eyelash you have will
Right.
qualify.
Okay.
And,
So with that card, they're not only,
They
they're not
can-
only legal to go purchase it at these
they
places.
can grow like 6 mature plants and 6 immature plants, there's a limit on it, how many
Right.
they have. The mistake most of them make is they grow over what's required, and then they just like, well, I got a card. Well, sorry, the card, it'll tell you what you can grow. Once you go over, you're now illegal. Yeah, so,
So in that, is that per person? So if they have a
It's-
husband and wife in the house that both
it's
have
usually per
cards,
person, and they can have
so they can double that.
double that, yeah.
And if they've got an 18-year-old son, they can triple
They
that.
can triple that.
And they bring in grandma and grandpa.
And all the relatives.
Are you planning a new business?
No, I'm
Starting to look.
just starting to see the flaw
Well,
in the design of this law.
But
You know.
the thing is we've visited several grows that people have, and it's, the first thing is, oh, I'm growing it for a marijuana clinic. Well, the thing is you can't grow for a clinic and then turn around and go, I'm gonna go ahead and sell it to them. You have to already be part of that collective. You have to be part of that group. There's a thing that you can get from Consumer Affairs California that says that you're one of the growers, and it specifies who the doctors you're growing for and how many plants you can grow for each doctor. Absence of that, it's illegal. So that's where people think is, oh, well, gee, I'm just gonna grow and sell to a clinic. No, it doesn't work that way. You don't have one and you don't have your records that show you're growing for these. And oh, as a little side note, even if you have a card, I know it's helped some people, so I'm being non-judgmental. But if you have a card and you go pick up your stuff at the repository or the, whatever you want to call it, the pharmacy, it's technically illegal for you to have it in your car bringing it home because that's transportation for sales. And by the way, that penalty has not been reduced to an infraction. That's still a big penalty. So what we tell people, if you're gonna do it, you put it in the trunk of your car. And you don't have your bowl sitting there with your baggie in the front seat when I pull up. It does not look good. I worked Saturday night overtime in the county car, so I was roaming around. We had a call of pear blossom as a side. We had a gentleman there who was trying to light up outside of a gas station. It's like, what are you doing? Oh, I have my medical card. No, read the card. You're only allowed to smoke at the dispensary or at your home. You can't be smoking out in public, driving the car, at the county park, at the city park, or at Palmdale Lake fishing. You can only smoke in the 2 spots. If you don't, it's illegal. And then there are penalties for that.
So it's illegal at a friend's house as well?
Well, no, because that's a residence.
house.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
house.
Okay.
So if you're, but, you know, you walk into Don Chato's now instead of Don Cuco's, sit down at your table and decide, I'm gonna go outside and light up. Can't do that. There's a reason for, you know, for that, but same thing with driving, so. And by the way, the penalty for possession of marijuana in a vehicle is still a heavy fine. It will cost you as much as a DUI. They have never decriminalized that because they decriminalized the penal code, but not the vehicle code. So there's all sorts of sections in the vehicle code about carrying, sitting in your car, that are all still the same same fine and or jail time and or level of fine that they were 10 years ago. So they haven't changed those. So just,
Okay.
So
Merry
does that mean that if it's in your trunk, and you're transporting it in your trunk, and you get stopped for something, and there's some reason to look in your trunk,
well,
that you can still be fined
but
because you're transporting it?
But we kind of look, if you've got the card, it's not in the front cabin of the car. That's what we're looking at. Because most people, like anything else, it's a temptation. Gee, it's in the car, I need to take a hit. I'm gonna pull off on the side, take a hit, and drive. Well, if it's in your trunk, you're less apt to do that, and you can drive safely. So we just kind of, you know what, leave it in your trunk. When you get home, unpack it, and then take it in your house. So,
I have one
That's the way to
cheeky
do it.
question, if you don't mind, on the side to Agua dulce, but I understand there was a very bad accident last night, about 4 o'clock, late afternoon, on Agua Dulce Canyon Road and Escondido, right by Asher Ranch. Do you know anything about that?
I do not know anything about it. I'll try to look it up. It's real quickly, but one of the problems this is a problem, that a lot of times these accidents, if they're called in on a cell phone up in that area, it runs to CHP first. And sometimes they don't relay the call to us, even if we're closer. If you're closer to Santa Clarita or Palmdale, 911 gets picked up by us, and we roll. But I'll have to look on the sheet and see if I can find it. I'll give you a call to let you know if I find anything.
I got a little on that one.
Oh, okay.
I saw the helicopter go flying over my house, looked up and realized,
Based on the vibration, in fact, he's a lot lower than he usually is.
and I heard the scanner, they were airlifting 1 or 2 people down to Henry Mayo. Another person was going out in a ground ambulance. I think it was just 2 cars.
Okay. The general criteria is head and neck injury will get airlifted.
It was, the helicopter landed in Monsign's Field, and transported at least 1 person that I know
At
of.
least one, yeah, because usually head, neck, or child will get airlifted, regardless of
Evidently,
anything else.
speed was possibly a factor in it, but I don't understand because it was right at the stop sign or coming up to the stop sign.
Oh, it was actually on the street then?
Yeah, right in
Okay.
front of the Asher Ranch entrance.
Okay,
So why is somebody traveling that fast? They're just gonna have to stop, so,
exactly.
I don't know, but maybe we can learn that.
Sir?
Yeah, I need to explain my experience with calling 911
Okay.
in Acton, because these robberies at Rustic, for example, I was talking to Andy and his wife about that, because my experience with calling 911 earlier, I guess it was late October, there were 2 kids that were, and my neighbors walking around looking at what they had, so I called 911, their car was parked on my place,
Okay.
took the license plate, called the license plate, they never showed up, sheriff never showed up, and I called back, talked to the captain or sergeant that was at Palmdale at that time, and he gave me a very sad story about the situation, and I know of you being here, but he said that you have to cover Little Rock, Lake Hughes, Agua Dulce, Acton.
Yeah, technically, the night car, if they don't put 3 of them on, some days is 3, some days is 1, they get that whole area.
Right, and I'm worried because I think these people who are doing these robberies know exactly, they can see the car in Little Rock, the patrol car, or see it going down Lake Elizabeth Road, and all they do is make 1 phone call to their buddy, whoever it is, hey, the patrol car's heading the other way, we got 5 hours, because nobody came to my place, and I complained, and he said, go talk to Tonovich about it. And I don't know if the word gets out, because this is not the second time, this is the 3rd time this has happened to me. And I lived in a 3rd world country, it took 10 minutes for the policeman to get here. This is, I mean, it's unacceptable.
After the meeting, I'll talk to you about it, get some particulars and see.
Yeah, well, something has to, because 911 doesn't work for me anymore. They told me to buy a gun. That was the recommendation of your office. So, yeah.
I'll talk to you about it after the meeting and see what other details.
We'll tell you what kind of gun.
There you go. All right, well, anybody have any other questions? And we'll
All right.
get out of your hair.
Any new business anyone wanted to?
How about unfinished business?
Unfinished business, oh.
Okay, Jackie prepared a letter that all of us on the town council signed, which was addressed to each one of the board of supervisors regarding their input and help on our Taco Bell situation. So we did send a thank you letter to the 5 supervisors. And that went out with everybody's signature that's on the town council. Since Jackie's not here to talk about it.
Yep. Okay, and
I mentioned this to Chris, but I have called the Board of Supervisors twice and emailed them twice about the date of the hearing for the animal facilities issue. And they're just good for nothing. They told me absolutely nothing and even misinformed me on something else. So I was wondering if any of you have any idea of when that hearing is going to be. And this isn't a hearing where you have to pay money, right? I think it automatically, that issue goes to the board automatically.
I believe so. I mean, this isn't a CUP or anything. This is-
Right,
this is
right.
Interdepartmental. so-
Because when we were at the hearing, public, what do you call it? Regional planning hearing, way back, I think it was in August, they said, well, we'll pass this along to the Board of Supervisors and we'll let you know. But I haven't heard anything, and I still want to help out and prepare, but it would be nice to have some sort of date or month.
I haven't seen any emails come in, and I haven't seen any correspondences. I think Jackie would be more on that.
Okay, I'll email her. Is she out of town or anything?
I don't know.
Not that we know of. I mean,
Okay.
she was here over the weekend.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, they're gonna go up to the snow for this week.
But this is the second meeting that she's
Oh.
missed.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
I think
Well,
her
maybe
son's out of
she
school.
was here last time. Jackie was here last time. Yeah,
Oh, that's right, Jackie was one of them.
I was the late one last time.
That's right.
I walked in an hour late.
But you made it.
I did.
So, anyone in the audience have anything else they want to talk about before we adjourn?
I missed what Pam said about the Taco Bell. Is that going forward, or are they doing anything? Is Taco Bell moving forward with that, or
We don't know a thing.
you don't know?
We haven't heard a thing. I did make a phone call to try to find out if there was anything happening about it, and, regional planning didn't know anything. So all we know is that they cannot build it with the drive-through.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and what Pam had said was that we had all signed thank you letters to the
I did hear that.
different members.
I'm sorry, didn't I make that clear? I'm sorry.
You did, you made that clear, but I thought I might have missed something else.
We just appreciated the work that the Antonovich did for us and helped us, and thankful that the other members of the Board of Supervisors agreed. So we felt as a town council, we needed to thank them. They get a lot of heat, negative otherwise, so this was a good thing.
William?
Dear.
You know?
2016.
We're ready to keep going.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.